Hey girl, hey, this is Quinn with PTSD While Black, just doing a check-in, doing it live because I don't want to have to upload. Just being real. I've had a migraine since Friday, so today is Wednesday. You do the math, however many days that is. 5 days? Something like that. I think it's 5. I don't know. Anyway, what I have been seeing with this migraine, it's increased heat out here in Fresno. The average temperature is 103 degrees to 105. So I'm noticing that the headaches are worse. I'm noticing my speech and memory get worse. So the hotter it is, the harder it is for my brain since the concussion. So I'm like, okay, this has been since 2016. I'm getting into this radical acceptance that this is just part of what it means to be me, what it means to live with this condition. I was talking to my therapist earlier today, and it was so funny because at the start of the conversation, I didn't have the air conditioning going because I'm trying to save electricity. And we just noted how hard it was for me to find words, how hard it was for me to, that I was slurring my speech, stammering, and very forgetful. I turned on the AC, drank some water, and then it's like, boom, you couldn't shut me up. It's that I'm realizing. So I wanted to talk about the temperature and also holding on to emotions, which is the PTSD part of all of this. The holding on to emotions of whether it's fear, whether it's resentment, holding on to anger, trying to control the outcome for me, I think really slows me down. So I'm getting this wonderful opportunity. We're going to call it that, a wonderful opportunity to love on my brain, to love on the brain that I have today, that it's impacted by whether or not I'm holding on to any emotions. And I have a responsibility to myself to process them unfiltered as much as possible, as clearly as possible, whether I'm stammering, whether I'm stuttering, whether I'm cussing, screaming, crying, or yelling, whatever. It's important for me to process those emotions. And so I'm realizing this past week, I've been trying to, I don't want to offend this person. I want to seem polite. I want to seem likable. And that's great for somebody who does not have compounded complex PTSD and who does not have a concussion. I think myself before the concussion, fine, you could try to do that shit. You would have the ability to process it. Quinn does not have that luxury. I don't have that luxury anymore. And I can just set myself the fuck free that I don't have the luxury of trying to make other people feel comfortable. I don't have the luxury of sugarcoating my words or policing myself emotionally. I have a responsibility to me so that I can be the safest and best version of myself, the most supportive version of myself, to get it out, to express whatever it is that is going on with me. So that's the other idea too. I want to talk about PTSD while black. So with regards to dealing with injustices and what's happening in our nation right now, I have a responsibility to me to name it, to label it, to call it out for what I see it as, to name what it affects for me, what's threatened for me. Does it threaten my pocketbook, my ambitions, my relationships, my sex, my emotional security, pride, self-esteem? To name what is threatened by the events that are going on. I have a responsibility to me to do this so that I can be a safe person for the people I'm in relationship with around me. And then I have a responsibility with events that are currently happening to look at what is my part in it. How have I complied with this? How have I denied what's going on? How have I been dishonest with myself and others about the impacts of things that are going on? How have I stayed in self-pity about what's going on? And that's for real. Migraine for 5 days? Hell yes, there's some self-pity that's going on top of lynchings, on top of brutality, on top of racial injustice and economic injustice. There's so much going on. So being in self-pity, yeah, okay, it's a natural first response, but it's not an okay place for me to stay. And the same thing with what I opened about, being self-seeking, trying to make other people feel comfortable, so that I appear like a good human being. Nah, fuck it. Okay, I see that I've been self-seeking and I need to stop that because it doesn't benefit me in any way whatsoever. The other part of what is my part that I see that comes up is I'm not accepting people, places, and things exactly as they are. I'm not accepting Quinn with PTSD and a concussion as she is. I'm not accepting the nation that I live in for what it is. I keep seeing the potential of what we could be. I keep seeing the potential for me of what I could be if I didn't have the concussion, if I didn't have PTSD. But guess what, Quinn, you do. And it's the same thing like one of my programs that talks about people with addictions or like people who've lost their legs. They're not going to walk and run like everybody else. They're going to need some support and some help. So that's me with my concussion and PTSD, and that is my nation with the subject of racism and internalized white supremacy. That this nation is not going to be a place of equality that it has touted without some help, without some investigation of how to grow your legs again when you've spent over 400 years in ignoring part of your populace and denying what's really going on. So that's the thoughts for today that I was really getting, that there is this need for a radical acceptance of myself and abilities, radical acceptance for my country and its abilities and disabilities. And recognizing that both of us are not able to do the things that we claim that we want to do. Like when the temperature's high, I'm not going to be the best motivational speaker without some AC or an ice pack or something going for me. And it's the same thing for this country, with knowing the history of denying racism, denying brutality, denying white supremacy has been thread throughout everything. This country's not going to live up to the quote unquote vision, the morals of liberty and justice for all. It's just something we say. It's not something we mean. And I have to process my feelings about that. That's the other thing I'm living with. I have to process my feelings on we're not going to live up to that. And to grieve the loss, to validate my own feelings and to grieve the process, which deals with denial and bargaining and being in anger, being depressed, and then finally accepting it. And not necessarily all in that order, but that's what grief looks like. And as a country, we're grieving. I'm giving myself permission to grieve. Yeah, I think last week I was at the anger phase of it. And now I'm a little bit more at the acceptance. I'm no longer bargaining. And I'm just accepting that we're not going to be what we said we're going to be. And that it sucks. And I'm saddened by that. But I still have love for my community. I still have love for the people in my life. I still have love for those who choose to be present. So I have good things going for me, even if our nation decides to be shitty. So yay! That's where I am today. And I think it's like a total 180 with where I was earlier this week. So, boom! All right, till next time, kids. Peace.